I'm gonna go ahead and argue that this one NPC in the Legend of Zelda series is one of the most important characters in the entire Zelda franchise. This character is the real champion, the MVP, the savior in the Legend of Zelda games that quite literally might just be the goddess Hylia herself reincarnated low-key, and is always there in our time of need. Well, for the most part. Zelda crew, make sure you watch this video right until the very end because I have some free additional content that you will not want to miss. The NPC that gets the first video in our brand new video series called The Evolution of is none other than the character called Beedle. My guy Beedle usually appears as a humble, small business owner, typically selling his merchandise on the go. Although both his attire and shops are modest, Beedle is often described as an expert salesman, sometimes offering Link unique membership opportunities or reward programs. So far, Beedle has appeared in 6 of the Legend of Zelda games. We have the Wind Waker, the Minish Cap, Phantom Hourglass, Spirit Tracks, Skyward Sword, and of course, Breath of the Wild. Despite only playing relatively insignificant roles in the series, Beedle has become one of the most prominent, reoccurring Zelda characters with exceptionally consistent characterization. Prior to Breath of the Wild, which has an uncharacteristic amount of voice acting for the series, Beedle was one of the few Zelda characters to regularly have vocal cues, including greeting Link, bidding him farewell, and offering an emphatic "thank you" whenever a sale is made. I completely butchered that. This is actually a long-going joke with some friends at work, by the way. You gotta love how Beedle says thank you. I think it's pretty safe to say that Beedle's name comes from his fascination with insects, particularly beetles. In more recent Zelda titles, he tends to obsess over certain species of the beetle, having quests or special dialogue involving them. Beedle himself doesn't change much between each of the Zelda games, with only slight alterations in appearance, but his shop does take a variety of different forms. His inventory is something that's notably different as well, and he often sells some of the most useful Legend of Zelda items, including pieces of heart and important upgrades that you need on your adventure. Despite Beedle being in 6 games, his character hasn't developed too much, which is about the only gripe I have about his character as far as his development goes. Beedle's demeanor in Skyward Sword does suggest that he adopts an overly friendly personality while conducting business, and his alter ego shows that he may have more quirkiness behind his obsession with the bugs. Beedle's very first appearance in the Zelda series was in 2002's The Legend of Zelda: The Wind Waker, one of the best in my opinion. He operates a traveling shopship that sells a variety of items, some being extremely important to the main quest. One of the biggest examples here is the fish bait, and it's one of Beedle's most practical products in Wind Waker. The fish bait is used by Link to feed the talking fishmen throughout the Great Sea. Doing this will fill in the islands on Wind Waker's ocean map, which starts the game pretty much blank for the most part. Purchasing enough items from Beedle will enroll Link in the membership program, a reoccurring side of his business in a couple of other Zelda titles as well. Wind Waker also introduces Beedle's alter ego, originally known as the assistant manager of the Rock Spire shopship. The assistant manager is clearly just Beedle wearing a bronze helmet, right? But he has insisted about having never met Link before, and he does sell unique items that are only purchasable one time. You think you're so slick, Beedle, don't you? Beedle, his alter ego, and his shop return in Phantom Hourglass, appearing in random locations throughout the world of the Ocean King. As one of the Legend of Zelda's direct sequels, Phantom Hourglass's model for Beedle's ship looks almost identical to the original in Wind Waker. Rather than selling mostly consumable items, Phantom Hourglass's Beedle offers a variety of upgrade materials, including parts for the SS Linebeck and Courage and Wisdom gems. Beedle's membership program was also expanded and improved with tiers of increasing discounts and even more bonus items. As the exact same character from Wind Waker, Phantom Hourglass's Beedle and his alter ego, now called Beedle's assistant, have the exact same demeanor, with the latter once again insisting that he's never met Link before. Again, you're not slick, Beedle. Beedle's mobile business underwent a significant transformation in The Legend of Zelda Spirit Tracks. One of the biggest transformations he made is that he made sure to take the time to subscribe to the channel so that his journey across each of the Zelda games wasn't as dangerous, which you should do as well if you like Zelda content. I sure appreciate you, and so does Beedle. Beedle. 100 years after the founding of the new Hyrule, Beedle has taken to the skies in an air shop now that Hylians have settled on a continental landmass. Beedle's airshop can be seen floating around shortly after Link wakes up to start the game, but isn't accessible until a couple dungeons have been completed. Then the player can eventually blow the Spirit Train's whistle to have Beedle land his hot air balloon when it's nearby. Spirit Tracks is the last time Beedle has offered a membership program, making it a feature exclusive to the adult era timeline branch, consisting only of the Wind Waker, Phantom Hourglass, and Spirit Tracks. This was not the end of Beedle being the owner of a flying shop, though, as one also makes an appearance in Skyward Sword, the origin story. Rather than being attached to a hot air balloon, the Skyward Sword air shop is kept afloat by two propellers powered by Beedle on a stationary bicycle inside. This iteration of Beedle is canonically first in the Zelda timeline and arguably has the most helpful assortment of wares, including upgrades like medals and larger wallets. Skyward Sword also gives Beedle his own floating island, which Link can visit at night and witness the shopkeeper with a different demeanor, if you will. Here Link can also see Beedle with his prized possession, a Horn Colossus Beetle, which is later stolen by Stritch, prompting a side quest to retrieve it. It's a super sweet side quest if you have never gone through it before. Beedle's second ever appearance in The Legend of Zelda was the Minish Cap. This version is the only one whose shop is in a permanent location on the ground. He can first be seen at the beginning of the game during the Picori Festival, but then disappears until the player has progressed a little ways through one of the better 2D Zelda games. Once Link clears off a dusty stall in the Hyrule Town Square, Beedle will set up his shop and begin selling Picolite, consumables that increase the rate at which other items are found. The Minish Cap's version of Beedle is the only one in the series that does not wear blue shorts, opting for a tan color instead, but his sprite does appear to be shirtless, just like the models from the Wind Waker, Phantom Hourglass, and of course, Spirit Tracks. Beedle also conducts his business on solid ground in most recent appearances as well. Breath of the Wild's version of the salesman has him trekking around the roads of Hyrule with a massive beetle-shaped pack on his back. He's usually found near the game's many stables, and he sells a variety of items like arrows, food, creatures, and materials. Although intended to be one person, Breath of the Wild actually spawns multiple Beetles across Hyrule, and if you are determined enough, you can push them together by repeatedly bumping into them. Beedle is once again obsessed with Beetles in Breath of the Wild, and will trade with Link if he has any in his inventory. It seems likely that Beedle will be reappearing in the upcoming sequel to Breath of the Wild, which could be the 7th game in the Legend of Zelda timeline to feature him. I think it'd be pretty cool to bring him back. There's a certain item in the Legend of Zelda series that is one of Link's most iconic in the series, and it sort of seems like Nintendo has made it a complete waste of time to even consider grabbing on your adventure. Much peace and love, be the light, and remember, it's dangerous to go alone, so take this opportunity to subscribe and turn on notifications so the journey isn't as dangerous. Click this video now. I'll talk to you over there.